guys, RanterInShades here, exercise my first human rights vlog style. You thought I was done talking about metal elitists, didn't you? Well, you thought wrong. I still have a good bit I want to cover about these guys, so worry not, dear viewers. Here's a metal elitist video for you all, and this one's about standing the test of time. Standing the test of time is difficult, to say the least, especially in music. You know how many musicians and composers have existed throughout history that you and I can't even name right off the bat? Fucking thousands. If music from centuries ago, from the classical and Baroque periods, is still being listened to, performed, and studied, that should say a lot about how much composers from that long ago stand the test of time. And meanwhile, if you look on Wikipedia at a list of composers from those periods, you'll probably recognize maybe a small handful of names there. And the best part? Those lists are probably partial. The same could apply to jazz from the early 20th century. You'd be amazed at how much that scene was poppin' in the 20s, 30s, 40s, and even 50s, and that music is still being listened to, performed, and studied as well. How do I know? What do you think I was learning in college outside the music tech stuff? The point I'm trying to make is that standing the test of time is an extremely difficult feat to accomplish, especially if you aren't even alive to see if your music is still relevant in any way, shape, or form in the future. I'm sure most of you watching this video don't even listen to classical or jazz music, as my videos mostly appeal to a rock and metal audience. I enjoy some jazz, but I'm not gonna act like I'm a major jazz buff, and I have an appreciation for classical music, haven't been a band geek for most of my life, but I'm not gonna act like it's music I listen to on the daily. But there are people that do listen to older music like that regularly, and wish it could be as relevant as the Chainsmokers are now. But like I've said in videos before, nothing in music dies as long as there's an audience. And if there's still an audience for something decades or even centuries later, then is the music really forgotten? Nope.
No.
So with that in mind, I always find it amusing whenever I see metal elitists somewhere claim that a band that's popular now, whether it be Avenged Sevenfold, Slipknot, Nickelback, Black Veil Brides, etc., are going to be forgotten in moments' time. Now, could mainstream bands lose some relevance over the course of their career? Of course. It's foolish to think that once you're at the top, you'll never leave. However, that's not the same thing as being forgotten. Another thing, we can't see into the future. Slipknot could be seen in the 23rd century as a Mozart of our time. You never know. So I don't think it's fair to say that no one down the line will remember a band unless you plan to go full Philip J. Fry and see for yourself. So in that aspect, you're probably right. The music we listen to today might not still be listened to, performed, or studied long after we pass. But in order to keep this video from sounding too depressing, we're gonna talk in terms of the future while we're still, hopefully, alive, because I'm sure that's what you probably mean. Stop taking everything so friggin' literal, Shades. Gosh! I don't know why metal elitists think that everything that reaches a wide audience is all just a fad. Even if mainstream success is short-lived, they can still appeal to a cult following. And if they're appealing to a cult following, then they're not really forgotten. When I saw Firehouse back in September, a band that I'm sure is commonly associated with a genre people find to be a fad in hindsight, glam metal, there was still an audience of people showing up at the club that liked their music. They might not have had a hit since 1995, but do people still remember them? Obviously yes. That's testament to them standing the test of time in 2017, or technically 2016 when I saw the show. Does that mean that Firehouse's music will still be celebrated centuries down the line? Probably not. But like with classical and jazz, there will always be historians. I consider myself to be a bit of a historian with contemporary music. I love learning about music and learning about the history of bands and genres, and this of course should show in my videos. There will be people just like me in the future that are really nerdy about music, metal or otherwise, or people like my professors in college, as well as some of my scholar friends who study music from ages ago. Again, this should be testament to music standing the test of time, even if it's not the in thing, quote unquote. Of course, with the 80s metal enthusiasts, they're pretty much a cult following, which again proves that music from that era isn't forgotten. You know how much music I have from the 80s on my computer? According to my handy-dandy smart list database, almost 60 gigabytes worth. And not even all of that is on my iPod. I always appreciate that there's still an audience for the music I listen to, and when I get older, that's still going to be the case. I look at music I have that's even as old as the 60s, like The Who, The Doors, David Bowie, and of course the Beatles, and find it astonishing that bands from that long ago are still remembered. Or if we're wanting to talk about early metal from the 70s, like Rainbow, Riot, Saxon, Judas Priest, and of course Black Sabbath, the same thing applies. That can and will be the case with a handful of bands that are popular these days, including this band, or bands that elitists group as being part of a fad. And even if they're only reaching a cult audience, there's still some remembering going on. And that makes your argument about the band being forgotten fall flat on its ass. Thank you for watching this video, take care, and have a nice day. I'm Shades, and I'll see you next time.